This is Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Me and Carl did our thing. But now it's time to put our sweatpants on and get back down to business. All these games ain't gonna play themselves. That's a good one, the Xbox 360. Something newer to change it up. I don't have a full 360 complete collection yet. I'm working on a solution to that, but these are all the games that I bought in real time when the system was out. That's perfect. Wreckateer. No controller needed because the Xbox 360 Kinect is a sensor that uses your body as the controller. With any system, I like to play games that are uniquely of that console, and we couldn't do much better here than getting an actual fully fledged Kinect game. And I always really liked the Kinect. The Kinect had a bad rap. It was by no means perfect, especially this Xbox 360 one. Later when the Xbox One came out, it had a newer Kinect at launch and it was much nicer, worked a lot better, but didn't have as much support in the end. But this thing was a pretty advanced little piece of hardware. It messed up a lot. You had to really calibrate it for your room properly. Not as user-friendly as the Wii Remote, but pretty cool once you get used to it. And you know, we're playing a Kinect game today. We're gonna look real silly, so I had to invite my friends back over for this one. They're always down to assist, especially when it involves ridiculous peripherals. And Wreckateer was one of the many games, actually, that was designed specifically for the Kinect. There was a decent amount of support for this thing. Everything from your quirky little experiences like this and your Kinect sports kind of things to like some fun indie titles and all the way up to some fun AAA game support. When Mass Effect 3 came out, I used to yell out commands to my party members and they used to follow my commands. It was pretty cool. And yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely fully embraced the Kinect at the time. I used to turn on my Xbox with my voice. I would say, Xbox, go to Netflix, and then I would pause and use all the voice commands with the Kinect. It was pretty cool. Really, the best way that I can think of to describe Wreckateer is that it's kind of like being in Angry Birds. It's like a 3D Angry Birds. Most people are familiar with Angry Birds. You know, you pull back with the touchscreen on your phone usually. You aim, you have different kinds of weapons that you can use. The birds are the weapons. They all have different abilities, and you try to cause as much destruction, get as much points, defeat as much enemies as you can. This is basically the same, except there's no touchscreen and there's no controller. You are actually physically doing the movements of pulling back the catapult and releasing it, and then you're in charge of, much like Angry Birds, like detonating, like depending on the weapon, whatever the weapon is. There's one that flies like a plane, and you have to deploy the wings with your arms and then start flying, and the thing follows where you want it to go. It's very silly, it's very fun, and while it took us quite a while to get used to what the game was asking us to do, because I forgot, I haven't played this in so long, but it did surprisingly hold up better than we were expecting. It was more fun than we were expecting and controlled better than we thought. Like I said, we had a lot of trial and error, like figuring out what the weapons want us to do in order to get the best results, and learning the little nuances of the hardware, the limitations of the hardware, and how to not mess it up. But this is a fun, simple, and perfect use for the Kinect. Don't just churn out Kinect games. Don't take Wii experiences and port them. What really works the best is when a developer familiarizes themselves with the hardware, learns it inside and out, and comes up with a fun and engaging concept that lends itself to the novelty and makes it a great experience. And trying to beat your old scores, chasing after your scores and finding new ways to get higher scores is really addicting, and it's just like Angry Birds in that regard. The IGN review of this game said it really perfectly, so I won't try to say it better. They said the game falls just short of irresistible addiction and instead settles for amusing distraction, which is pretty accurate. I mean, Angry Birds was that addiction that you had to keep. You couldn't just put it down. This game, you could put it down. You get kind of tired. It's not as quick to pick up. It's a little drawn out. The gameplay could have been better, could have used a little more adjusting. The graphics were fine for the time, but certainly could have been better. I honestly would have loved to have seen a sequel to this on the Xbox One with the newer Kinect, where the developers would have gone with this having a little bit better hardware and a little more time to develop it. I think that could have been a classic, but this one, unfortunately, is kind of forgotten. Not a lot of people had it, not a lot of people played it, and I even forgot about it and I had it. It just sort of disappeared, which is a shame. But this is absolutely a blast for a group of friends. It does suck that the multiplayer is only limited to 2 players. Again, I feel like they rushed this one out a little bit to have titles for the Kinect. There's no controllers, so you should be able to have as many players as you want. You should be able to have 20 people over your house, and each one has their own turn. You can put your names in there like bowling, and everyone has their own turn. I would have liked to have seen more variety in the stages. There are a lot of stages, but they all kind of tend to look the same after a while once you get further enough in the game where you unlock everything. I know it's got that medieval destroy castles vibe, but I feel like it could have gone to more interesting places.
911. Oh, I missed. Damn it.
So let's give a rating to Wreckateer for the Xbox 360/Kinect. Yeah, a fun little casual, relaxing diversion. When the Kinect was new, you wanted to show people what it did. Perfect to bust out. Not quite as effective as Kinect Sports, but Kinect Sports wasn't very original. It was just Wii Sports with Kinect. This is definitely a more original experience. My buddy Ziggy here is actually Scottish, so the poor voice actor impression of the Scottish accent, I could tell got under his skin a little bit, was a little cringy, but that was funny. We won't hold that against it. A lot of frustrating moments, a lot of mess ups. The technology was super new, and again, this game was rushed out to have games for it. But overall, such a fun, positive, silly, and unique experience. Wreckateer's gotta be a solid 3 out of 5 from me, and I feel like in an alternate universe, there is a Wreckateer 2 on the Xbox One that is at least a 4 out of 5. It's a shame we'll never see it, but this is good for what we have. Alright everyone, that was a really great one. We've got another crazy peripheral under our belts. We're running out. We did the fishing controller, the bongos, the steering wheels. I think we need some Power Glove or PlayStation Move or Rock Band instruments coming soon. That would be really cool. But this week goes to show that you never know what's coming next. Looking forward to next week. I hope you'll be there, and we'll see you then.
That's it.